It's Sunday afternoon. You've had one of the hardest weeks of your life. You worked late every night. You skipped lunch. You pushed through when everything in you wanted to stop. And now, finally, you've got nothing to do. So you sit down, you put your feet up, you do absolutely nothing. And within minutes, sometimes seconds, it starts. That quiet, creeping feeling that you should be doing something, that you're wasting time, that other people are out there working, improving, achieving, and here you are just sitting. So you pick up your phone, you check your emails, you make a mental list of everything you still need to do, anything to silence that feeling. Sound familiar? That feeling has a name. And understanding where it comes from will change the way you rest, possibly forever. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Rest guilt isn't laziness. It's not a character flaw. And it's not a sign that you need to work harder. It's a conditioned response. Something your brain learned, probably very early, about what it means to be valuable. Think about how you grew up. Think about what got praised and what got ignored. Chances are, doing things got praised. Achieving things got praised. Being productive, being busy, being useful, those things earned approval. But sitting still? Doing nothing? Resting? That was harder to justify. That required an excuse. Being sick, being exhausted, having already finished everything on the list, which of course was never really finished. And so your brain learned a rule. A rule it's been running ever since. Your worth is tied to your output. When you're productive, you're valuable. When you're resting, you're falling behind. Psychologists call this conditional self-worth. The belief, often unconscious, that you only deserve good things when you've earned them. That comfort must be justified, that rest must be deserved. And the cruel irony is this. You can never earn enough rest to feel like you deserve it, because the moment you stop, the brain doesn't say, well done. It says, what's next? The goalpost moves. It always moves. And rest always feels premature, and because there's always something else that could be done. But there's a second force making this worse. And this one's cultural. We live in a world that's turned busyness into a status symbol. Think about the last time someone asked how you were. Chances are you said busy. And chances are that felt like the right answer. The acceptable answer. The answer that communicated, I'm important, I'm needed, I'm not wasting my life. Psychologist Anne Burnett spent over a decade studying the language people use to describe their lives and found something remarkable. Busyness has become a form of social currency. People don't just feel busy, they perform busyness. They wear it like a badge. And in a culture that worships productivity, rest doesn't just feel unproductive, it feels transgressive, like breaking a rule everyone silently agreed to follow. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Because not only does rest guilt make you feel bad, it actually makes your rest less effective. Research from the University of Vienna found that people who felt guilty while resting showed significantly higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, than people who rested without guilt. Their bodies were physically stressed even while doing nothing. They were resting, but they weren't recovering, which means rest guilt doesn't just steal the pleasure of downtime, it steals the biological benefit of it. The very thing rest is supposed to give you, recovery, restoration, mental clarity, is blocked by the guilt itself. You can't recover properly from a state of guilt. Your nervous system doesn't know how to do both at the same time. So what do you actually do about this? The answer isn't to think your way out of it. You can't logic yourself into feeling okay about rest. The guilt doesn't respond to arguments. What it responds to is repetition. Every time you rest without acting on the guilt, without picking up your phone, without making a list, without turning rest into something productive, you send your nervous system a new signal. Rest is safe. Rest is allowed. Rest isn't a threat. It takes time. The guilt doesn't disappear after one Sunday afternoon, but it does weaken. Every time you choose to stay still anyway, you're slowly rewiring the rule your brain has been running for years. There's also something worth remembering the next time the guilt arrives. Rest isn't the opposite of productivity, it's the foundation of it. The research on this is overwhelming. Sleep deprivation reduces cognitive function. Chronic overwork leads to decision fatigue. The brain consolidates learning during rest. Creativity spikes after periods of deliberate doing nothing. You're not falling behind when you rest. You're building the capacity to move forward. The guilt will come. It probably came just from watching this video about rest. But here's what it's actually telling you. Not that you're lazy, not that you're behind, not that other people are working while you waste time. It's telling you that somewhere along the way, you learned that your value as a person depends on what you produce. And that lesson, however deeply it's wired, was never true. You don't have to earn the right to exist. You don't have to justify stillness. You don't have to be productive every hour of every day to deserve a life that feels good. Rest isn't a reward for finishing everything. Nothing is ever finished. And you're allowed to rest anyway. Subscribe to The Social Psyche. Every week we break down the hidden psychology behind why you think, feel, and behave the way you do.